1970, we sure we did live for front. Knowledge for selfish, for sure we did do the work. Auditorium to basement of all faculty of law. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Work hard and we shine, commitment, dedication. Neurosurgery, comedy, music, Nollywood. SOTK, Dr. Call, MC Casino. We did represent, stand tall anywhere we go. Great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben, great Uniben.
Hello, viewers. Welcome to another episode of the Uniben Alumni series. This is a program that showcases the very best of Uniben alumni, men and women that are doing great things in their different endeavors around the globe. And on today's episode, I have a former vice president of Banking and Finance Department at the Student Association. She's a youth and political mobilizer. She's a chief executive officer of our own business. She's into so many things, so many positive endeavors. She's Victoria OKHAI-SADOH. Thank you, Victoria, for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, Kevin.
Good to finally have you here.
Yes, after a very long
long time.
A very long time. Yeah. I'm honored to be here on this platform today.
Good to have you. Thank you for honoring our invitation. Victoria holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Banking and Finance from the Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Benin. Let's start off from there. What inspired that choice of banking and finance? Were you intrigued by the banking sector that made you up to study banking and finance, or was there any motivation from somewhere that made you study banking and finance?
Okay, okay, we want to start from there.
Yeah.
First of all, personally, I'm someone who I like to explore a lot of fields, but it was intriguing because although banking and finance was really, sincerely speaking, was not really what I wanted to do. But but one thing was clear for me was that I wanted to attend University of Benin, and amongst my choices of universities and Code of Marks and everything, University of Benin came up, and I had to apply. When I applied for banking and finance, and I saw that Uniben had accepted me, so I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do this.
So if you had your way, what course did you initially wanted to study?
I have the flair for international relations, and that was something I would have, But then it was another institution, but I really wanted University of Benin, and that's why I had to stick.
Why University of Benin?
Yeah, I think University of Benin over the years has created a niche for itself, and it's one prestigious university that anyone would want to associate themselves with. And looking at the roles of pedigrees and great people who have emerged from that institution, and also their method of teaching and the learning process, and to me it was always a university I admired and wanted to be a part of.
Okay. Your time at the University of Benin, one of the significant steps you took while studying there was getting into student politics, which you were later elected. You emerged as the vice president of the Banking and Finance Department Student Association. Yeah. What inspired you to go into student politics, into student union?
Okay. Yeah, so University of Benin, it brings out this leadership quality in you. And at that time, I started as a class representative, and in my 100 level, I knew I had these qualities of leadership that I'm like, okay, what other platform or what other way do I have to, to exhibit this rather than contesting? So I started as a university class rep, and it stayed all through my 5-year period, my 5-year course. And then sometime in between my study, there was an opportunity to select a departmental vice president. And I'm like, okay, I already started as a class representative, of which, I have already gained some form of experiences already. And for me personally, I thought it was something I could do, and I had the skills, and I also had the opportunity to express myself. And I'm like, okay, what better way to go on with this than competing for this position? And yeah, I was surprised. Well, I wouldn't say I was really surprised, but yeah, I emerged as vice president. And as a matter of fact, I ended up serving as a 2-time vice president. So after my first tenure, I came again. Yeah. So I was
why didn't you aspire to go higher, or do you think you were quite comfortable being the vice president? Because usually what we see is from vice president, the student aspires to be president.
Yeah. It's not like I was limiting myself, but at that time we had like a constitution which gave a gender, like, okay, the male had to do this and the female had to do that. But at that time it was, but after University of Benin, of course, I stepped forward and explored on a larger scale the political field.
Yeah, we'll get to that. And the issue of gender, I do not think that is right. Hopefully by now, this is years back.
This was over 10 years ago.
Talking about your leadership sojourn at the University of Benin, class rep, vice president, 2-time vice president of the department. What was the most challenging time for you as a leader? Maybe think about the class rep role. What was that moment that you felt, I want to drop this, I don't think I can do this? Did you ever have that moment?
Oh, absolutely. There were so many times I felt overwhelmed, but the truth is, during my leadership period in the University of Benin, Uniben, it's groomed me to, develop this exceptional leadership skill, exceptional leadership style. And I interacted with different people with different personalities, different opinions, different expectations. And, I didn't expect them to all, agree with me. Some agreed with me and some did not. But at that point, I think, I learned some skills. I learned how to listen. I learned how to communicate. I learned how to negotiate when necessary. And like I said, it wasn't all rosy, but in all of that, I think it was building me. These experiences were building me up to gain these skills. And I don't want to go on to talk about the electioneering processes, the debates here and there, but in all, it was all an experience for me. And, it has improved me. It has, helped me so far on this level that I am right now.
Okay, talking about improvement, you're talking about your leadership position that you heard how it improves you. Let's talk generally about the University of Benin. What are the values? What are the soft skills, if I may say, that you took from the institution? What are the things you look back to and said, I learned this from the University of Benin and it's still very much useful to you today?
The one and major skill was negotiating skill.
Alignment.
Alignment, you understand?
Yeah, political alignment. Yeah.
At every point, I found myself negotiating because I was interacting with different people who had different personalities and wanted something different. And you as a leader, I had to find a balance. I had to find a way to balance these things. And then that brought out that negotiating skills from me, where, okay, I would say, okay, maybe a majority would say, okay, they want it this way, and others would say, okay, this is what. So I had to find a balance, something to like trade for, to say, okay, well, I give you this and you do this, or, let's do it this way, in exchange for this. And I just had to, learn how to negotiate. And that was one thing one skill that is really helping me until today, even in my businesses, in my, interactions with people. And another skill I learned was a communication skill, which of course in our day-to-day life is also important. Communicating with different people, and to me, communication, it's not just all about talking with people. You also have to have that listening ability. In communication, most people would think that it's just, exchanging words or exchanging conversations, but it's more of listening. It's more of understanding, and then relating what that conversation is all about. So those two skills majorly I learned from University of Benin, from my leadership experiences while I was in Uniben.
Okay, let's transit to secular politics.
Hey.
Yeah,
as much as possible to avoid that.
In 2020, you were quite significant, or you were prominent in the 2020 Edo State gubernatorial election. You're a youth mobilizer, Edo North female coordinator, youth female coordinator. What was that experience like for you? Yeah, the election might not have turned out how you hoped your candidate won the election, but what was the experience like for you?
Hi. I think it was one of my most interesting experiences as a person so far. And personally, I think every youth should get involved in politics. Politics is, we exercise politicking in our everyday, day-to-day activities. I mean, if we want to really understand what politics is all about. But in the secular way now, and for me, it was a very beautiful experience. And owing to the fact that I started from University of Benin, so I was already used to certain things, if you understand what I mean. So for that 2020 elections, it was just a way to advance what I already have started in the University of Benin. And it was beautiful. And my political party, which, I don't regret being a part of. Let's not go there, but I still don't regret being a part of it. And it was really interesting for me. It builds my confidence. It builds it gave me leverage. It gave me access. And apart from my own personal benefits or my own personal advantages, for me also it made me understand an inner part of me. It made me realize that there were more things that I could do if I am in a leadership position. Because with the leader opportunity I had to be a leader, like I was given a youth mobilizer, a youth coordinator. I worked, at several levels. I began to climb higher, and for some reasons or whatever had happened, although politics is not for the weak. It's not for the weak. Today you are here, and tomorrow, you have to balance it. But politics is not for the weak. But in all of that, I do not regret it. And I am grateful for the opportunities that I had, the accesses that I had and still have, and how it's it gave me access to not just the higher levels, but also the grassroots level. It made me understand the plight of people who do not have access to these, who do not have these accesses that we have. And it began to make me, think, okay, if I only have access to this little opportunity and I am doing this, what would happen if I have, a bigger platform to exercise, whatever power and everything. So it was a beautiful experience. I was communicating at the grassroots level, was going into the rural area, communicating. I was, I listened, I understood the plight of the younger generations. For me, I mean, I was working with my party, of course, and working with my leaders, which I represented at that time.
Yeah.
And, I had to preach the message which they had sent me, and doing it with also empathy that I had in me, building so many things in terms of women empowerment, in terms of youth enlightenment, skills development, doing a lot of things. So it was also beyond the politicking. It was also more of empowering the youth. It was also more of reaching out and having this one-on-one conversations with them. So overall, it was a beautiful experience. And yeah, even though some things happened, but yeah,
your party unfortunately did not win, and that is politics. You win some, you lose some. And let's talk about your more recent involvement in women empowerment programs. Before now, you have been pushing for the youth to be involved in politics and getting empowered. But however, more recently, you have tinted towards women empowerment. In 2023, you were National Youth Director for Progressive Empowerment Project for Nigerian Women.
Yeah.
What do you think is the biggest barriers for young Nigerian women in leadership today? What do you think are the limitations they do have in leadership? Is it business leadership, political leadership? What do you think are the limitations for Nigerian women, young and old Nigerian women?
Okay. From my own personal experience, I think not getting involved is one barrier for me. Not even trying to get involved. And because most people always feel like, okay, there is the government there, the government has to do this for us, the government has to, provide this. But we as an individual, we as a person, what are we trying to do for ourselves? And in order for us to be able to do these things for ourselves, we need to take some steps. We need to try to get involved. We need to demand this right or whatever that we think we are demanding from the government. So I think the major barrier is not getting involved, because when you try to get involved, then your eyes are open to, there are even something, even the people who are in power, they might not even know that, these people are even in need of this. But when you try to get involved, then you have this access to, to know that, this is the areas in which I can even ask for what I want. I know the right channels. I try to get involved. I try to empower myself. It's not always waiting for the government to do this. We can also always try to empower ourselves. So for me, the major barrier is not trying to get involved. That is the first step for me.
Yeah, okay. There's this burning issue. It has been there right from time about politicians. You are the chief executive officer of Emike V Global Ventures. You're into business. You do your own thing on the side. Politics is not your first and only address, but we have a lot of politicians who politics is the only way out for them. That is where they get their finances.
Yeah.
That is,
Yeah.
What do you say to such situations we find ourselves in the country?
Yeah. Okay. So, for example, most people know that I had been so actively involved in the politics, and even most people Not like I'm backing out. I'm not backing out. I'm just on a break. Know that
Yeah, sabbatical.
not sabbaticals. Most people, would be expecting that, oh, by now maybe Victoria should have been maybe in the House of Reps or something. And, but the truth about why most politicians get stuck in politics and are like, always bent over to do what they are not even supposed to do, in this political sphere, is because they, like you said, they have no other option. And for me, what gave me the audacity, what gave me the guts to be able to have an alternative, or what gave me the guts to take a break, you understand? What gave me the audacity to take a break is because I have other sources. I have other things I'm doing. I have other businesses or what have you that I'm getting involved with. So developing a skill, trying to set up yourself aside politics, is something that, it's very important. Otherwise, you would, as a politician, as a hardcore politician, if you do not have other sources, if you do not have other means of income, or if you don't have other means of survival, then you always find yourself bending in or leaning forward to doing whatever you're not supposed to do, the things that you within yourself that, oh, this is really what I'm doing, it's not nice, or this is not how I'm supposed to do it. But because as a politician who has only politics as their own source of survival, they'd be like, okay, what can I do? If I don't do this, then there's no food for me, So because I had other means, that's why I had the audacity to be able to take a break. And I think it's important that other politicians should also try as much as possible to have.
I quite agree with your position, because I think that has also contributed to we having a lot of politicians without integrity.
Exactly.
Moving from one position to another, that position of view. Today they are in one party, tomorrow they're in the second party. Any party in government, they just want to associate because they live off politics.
Yes, exactly.
That will not help our democracy. That will not help our ideological movement going forward. Let's talk lastly about your event coming up in November.
How did you know that?
You have been putting up events like this, and we have been following up.
Thank you.
In November, you're coming up with the Autumn Summit, which has the theme, the modern woman striving every season. Can you give us an insight about this event? What inspired this? Like I said earlier, you have tinted more towards empowering women. Yes, you can just give us a context for this summit and why this theme, why this topic for this year.
Okay, thank you so much for bringing this up. Okay, so the summit is it's under one of my platforms called La Femme Hub. So La Femme Hub is a community, is a safe space for women, for to build quality network, to learn network, and improve on their knowledge. It's a community for young women to inspire one another and to learn from each other. So one of our major activities, we do a lot of activities that is geared towards connecting women, whatever activity that it is that would make women to learn, to get inspired. We do that, ranging from workshops, from seminars, and what have you. And currently we're in the Netherlands, Amsterdam to be precise, and we have held about 3 to 4 events. And like you said, in the autumn, in November 21st, we are carrying out a summit called with the theme the Thriving Woman. So I mean, we know that women, there are so many fields in which women need to be mentored on. They need to be, inspired about. We're talking about finances, health, relationship, So we are trying to create a community. We're trying to create a platform where there are also women who have higher experiences, who have better expertise, want to bring them together in a room to discuss, to learn from one another, to learn from their expertise, learn from their stories, and, improve one another. And we're hoping to bring speakers from all all fields of life, all walks of life. We're also looking at both from Nigeria and from here in the Netherlands, and it's going to be a very inspiring event. And so far we've had good credits from our previous events, and maybe I'm also going to share a flyer after this. If you want, you can also
please
drop it up. So it's going to be a very inspiring event for women to connect, to learn, and to inspire one another. So I'm looking forward to it, and I also hope young ladies also would look forward to attending.
Thank you very much, and I wish you all the best in the program.
Thank
you for creating time to be part of this interview today. I know it has been up for a very long time. Good to have you. Good to see you.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. I feel honored.
That's the end of the interview. I've been speaking with Victoria OKHAI-SADOH. She's a businesswoman, a women empowerment advocate. She is the CEO V Global Ventures. Continue to subscribe to our channel, bringing more exclusive interviews of Uniben alumni. Bye for now.